When I look at her overall demeanor, she does not carry the confidence or the presidential appearance to command in her position. With Kamala Harris looking down oftentimes and looking over to the side, looking at the other reporters that were in the room, we're distractors. She struggles. And when she struggles, you start to see a lot of the head bobbling. You know, the head bobbling is what part of the file in my subconscious am I going to pull out? Which ones are my answers? When you bobble and waffle like that, again, that's another signal that she's not really either one prepared. She doesn't really have confidence in her own answers, and that she is waffling on some issues because what's happening is she knows what she feels and what she believes in. She's trying to tell it slightly different, and there is that it collides. When you're breaking gaze, that is a form of deflection. So when you're removing an eye gaze, not making good eye contact, it's just showing me that she's not confident in what she's saying. I'm looking at you in the camera, and I'm making direct eye contact with all of your viewers. That's what she needed to do. It takes small tweaks to make big changes, and she really does need some body language coaching.
John, I want to get your reaction to some of the specific bits of this here, like this particular part, which I thought was very telling, when she's asked about Joe Biden's condition, what she knew, and if she regrets defending him.
You insisted that President Biden is extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets about what you told the American people?
No, not at all. Not at all. I have served with President Biden for almost 4 years now, and I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest honors of my career, truly. He cares so deeply.
He cares. That's all that we care about. It's all the big caring candidacy. But this leaves a very big question here. I mean, how much did she know about Joe Biden's condition for all of these months and years that he was on the decline?
We're never going to know. There is something in journalism called the rule of the follow-up, James, which is if the person you're asking the question of completely avoids the question, you follow up to try to nail them down. The thing that was missing from this, in addition to tough-hearted questions, was almost no follow-ups.
And guys, before we get started, I just want to thank y'all for hanging out with me today. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Let's get started. Now, you got to think, why isn't she confident with her answers? Well, as you guys heard, Kamala Harris was telling the truth in a slightly different manner. Or in other words, she's lying and she's trying to mask her words with her physical actions. We can only tell so much with body language, although we can tell a lot once we differentiate the truth from the lies. So let's start with fracking, shall we? This is a huge issue in Pennsylvania, a state that Kamala Harris is pandering to and is said to be the key to the White House. In other words, if she don't get Pennsylvania, she's not going to the White House in November. Here's what she said to Dana Bash during their interview.
When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
Now, I want you guys to note how she's laying down the narrative here. She clearly says that she made it clear that she would not ban fracking. Not anybody else but herself. But listen to what she said during the VP debate against Mike Pence.
What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact.
And I know what you guys are thinking. Maybe she said that she wouldn't ban fracking here too, but that's not the case. She was very transparent about it. Joe Biden won't ban fracking. Now, I understand that some might find that to be a small detail, but it makes a huge difference when you take language into consideration. This wasn't a small misstep, it was a blatant lie. And just to prove the point here, guys, this is what she really wants to say about fracking. This one is from a year prior to the debates against Mike Pence.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, and starting
And starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? And then there has to be legislation. But yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue. And to your point, we have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities.
You guys notice how she maintained eye contact back then, right? She didn't need to look down at all and kind of like space off and look around the room. This is the truth, even though she's trying to sell us the idea that she agrees with President Joe Biden on the topic of fracking. And to Dana Bash's credit, she did try and get some questions there that many of us are curious about, even though she did pitch some really soft questions and worded them in a way that wouldn't paint Kamala Harris or Walz as liars. But it wasn't enough to build the idea that they weren't being completely honest with the American people. She also didn't do very much research because these videos took me a hot minute just to compile. It's kind of odd that a journalist from CNN didn't bother getting more information about a point of view to their interviewees. She didn't even ask many follow-up questions that would naturally have forced Harris to tell us the truth. But at least we got something, right? And it's not just the vice president. Even Governor Tim Walz had some spotlight here where he was ultimately asked about stolen valor and how he lied for years on his end.
Governor Walz, the country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where my heart is. And again, my record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
And the idea that you said that you were in war, did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog.
Now again, I'll give credit to CNN's Dana Bash for asking the question again, because it's pretty obvious that Tim Walz was going to strut around and not even answer it. This has led many critics of the Harris-Walz campaign to cite that their entire platform has been built on lies. Now, with all of that combined, I want you to see it from a different perspective. What if the one seated in this interview was Donald Trump and JD Vance? Now, let's just imagine for a second that they were the ones that have been doing the lying, that they were the ones misrepresenting their word and even admitting to being grammatically incompetent just so that they can avoid any issues. How do you think that conversation would go? Would CNN's Dana Bash just let it go? Because if we go by this interview, then the same treatment should be given to Donald Trump and JD Vance. That would prove that CNN is objective and is treating everyone fairly and the same. But who's betting that this won't be the case?
So they claim to be peaceful and be all about inclusion. Well, I think this says something a little bit different.
Watch as this guy goes to a Biden protest in a Trump shirt and a Trump event in a Biden shirt. You can clearly see the difference between Trump and Biden supporters.
I'm right into the Biden protest with the Trump shirt. Get your ass across the street. What the f*** is everyone so hostile?
Go over there with your people.
You guys are my people. Look.
No, you're not. You're Trump supporter.
No, Biden says children, not Trump. No, stop. Don't snitch. Stop, I'm blending in. No. Why is everyone so angry? I'm just walking the sidewalk. You see how much hate it is over here? It's a public sidewalk. I feel like I'm gonna get jumped out. Oh, man. When you poured water on me, did it make you feel happy? Yeah. I have to change shirts. Can I hide behind you? Okay. Okay. I was feeling crazy today. Hey, come on. It's just so much more respect.
Now, this is just one scenario, but you guys get the point here. And while RFK confirmed that he's not going to agree with Donald Trump on everything, they do agree on issues that matter to him a lot. That would be ending the Ukraine war, ending the censorship of Americans, protecting children's health, and many more. Now, what's amazing is that he says that this isn't even the best part, that Trump will have even more people added to the unity government. And here's the big reveal. Expect more Democrats to join President Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm going to be campaigning actively. I think President Trump is going to make a series of announcements about other Democrats who are joining his campaign. And you know, I want to make America healthy again, and so does President Trump.
And it's not like him joining forces with Donald Trump was a small, insignificant event. It may have very well changed the direction of our country. And we've now got experts lining up saying that this could be the nail in the coffin. And the Harris campaign doesn't need this kind of news after her being officially nominated as their party's presidential nominee.
Tony Fabrizio, who's a pollster that I've known and worked with for a long time, is the lead pollster for the internal Trump polls, released a memo today going through the 7 battleground states that a lot of people have focused on, talking about North Carolina and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. And in every single one of those 7 battleground states, all of these RFK voters, RFK Jr. voters, break towards Trump. Some of them, Trump is getting 2/3 of the RFK voters, and he's getting about 4%, 3% in these states. And in a state like Pennsylvania, where it could well come down to, you know, tens of thousands of votes, a half a point or 3/4 of a point, that may well make the difference in who the next president is. A lot of people have said that Pennsylvania is going to be the key for Kamala Harris. Democrats cannot win the presidency without Pennsylvania. That is the conventional wisdom. If RFK Jr. makes the difference in other states and Pennsylvania, it really could spell the difference in this campaign. This should be taken seriously. This is a big day in the campaign. And let me tell you, Kamala Harris did not want this to happen on the first day after her convention. She wanted to come out of there riding high. This has completely and totally changed the subject. And now we're back playing on Trump's turf again.
Now, since we're on topic, guys, I did a previous video where I talked about the complete 180 of mainstream media when it comes to Donald J. Trump. None worse than what TV personality Oprah did to him. Straight up stabbed that man in the back. These two were incredibly close friends before Donald Trump decided to run for president. Now, guys, this is a must watch, so be sure to go over there right after this one. As always, appreciate you guys being here. Thanks so much for subscribing to the channel and for liking the video. I'll see you guys on the next one.